Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Brood for Life podcast. I know it's been quite some time before I've had an episode out, but sometimes life gets in the way, and the goal is to get this thing rolling again. And I hope you guys stick along for the ride. I hope you enjoy the upcoming episodes, and let's uh let's work on this stuff together. So just to kind of give you guys a background as to what the heck's been going on. Obviously, my last episode that I put out, where I was really hoping to kind of get this thing rolling, I had switched jobs. I went through a whole bunch of training, 8 weeks to be exact. Very important training because the new job has a lot of different attributes and a lot of different aspects that I didn't have at my previous place. So I'm very, very happy to be where I'm at and very happy to be working for the company I work for now. Great company, huge amounts of support systems. I finally have a boss that is very proactive, wants you to succeed, is willing to be a part of that succeeding, and wants to watch you grow and wants you to watch to make a ton of money and just overall be great at what we do. And so that's kind of where things have been at for the last couple of months. And I kind of slipped off before I actually went into the training. Sometimes life just kind of gets in the way, and some other things are more important. But now that things are kind of back on track and this training is done, I'm excited to get back at it and kind of share life and share my thoughts and get you guys back invested in this podcast. So that's kind of what's been going on. And life has been really good. I can't complain. A lot of things have happened in the last few months, and I'm incredibly excited about where this podcast is going to go and where life's going to go. And for the first time in my life, and I've said this a million times, like, life isn't just good, it's great. And the direction that my life is going in is hands down the best direction it's ever gone in. Like, I don't miss necessarily some of the things from my past. I don't miss the life I've had. At this point in my life, I've got the best job I've ever had with the most growth opportunity. I've got a beautiful partner to be able to be by my side through this journey. We got a beautiful home, a beautiful young son. Everything seems to be in the best place it's ever been for me. And I really could not be happier with that at all. The two dogs are finally getting out of their puppy stage, so, that part of life is getting a little bit better, which means that being a dog parent is easier when you're not dealing with the no, stop that, hey, get over here, please don't chew on that, and all of those other fun things that come along with having puppies. So now I'm at a point where it's about growing my business and growing what is what my metrics are for my job and getting that moving. It's about getting back to brewing. It's about getting back and really kind of getting involved with all the things that have made me happy over the last year of starting this podcast and growing the social media pages. And I actually kind of really missed it. So I'm excited to kind of get this venture moving again. And having all those other pieces in place makes it much easier to kind of get back to doing this. Now, with that said, like, we have had so many other things going on, like, I've had a close friend have to, get some bad news and now has to go through some personal struggles. I have my friend Joe who has been on the podcast, and we talked about therapy and recovery and all that kind of stuff. And like, he's had some huge success with his social media platform and his growth as an individual. And if you're not following that, I'll throw all of his social media out at you at the end of this. But, like, he has had some huge success with his sobriety, with his growth as far as therapy, with jobs. A great person to, if you're struggling and you're having a hard time with different attributes of your life, like, listen to the stuff that he puts up because it's extremely informative, and all of those things have been, tremendous for him, and they've helped a lot of people. So you should really check that stuff out. On the other side of things, we have reconnected with some people that my other half was friends with growing up, and we got to sit down and enjoy some time with them on Saturday after not um, her and her friend not being connected for really kind of a period of time. And Audrey and I have known each other for a very long time, and when Audrey and I really first started talking and really wanted to take what we had to a different level, this was the only person who really knew at that moment, and it was nice to finally meet her face to face. It was nice to meet her husband and be able to spend time with them. So life just, like it for us, it hasn't been like mundane and very repetitive. There's been a lot of changes, and they're good changes. They're changes that have helped us grow as individuals, that help us, be better people and understand, which I also have mentioned multiple times in past episodes, that reflecting back on your past and being able to make adjustments and pivot to acknowledge that, like maybe it wasn't just the other people in my life that, I thought had made difficult decisions and that's why relationships have been severed, but it's really a two-way street, and it's tough to be able to realize that at times, like, maybe it wasn't just the other person that made, some tough decisions. Maybe it was me too, and all of it combined is what led to the separation of a friendship. And I think that's important to note because sometimes we get in our own head and we forget that it takes two to make a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a romantic relationship, a work relationship. It takes two people to actively want to be a part of that and actively address the struggles and the highs and the lows and all of those things. And if it's only one person that can acknowledge it openly, it's not going to make that relationship better because the person who needs to hear it might not be actively listening. And sometimes it takes some time and some separation for those things to come together. So I'm very excited about where all of this is going to go and where the growth comes from and being able to spend time together. I'm very excited about the fact that Audrey had a good core group of friends growing up, and they had all gotten divided at different times, and they've talked to each other individually, but not as a group. So I'm excited to see what comes from all of this and see how well all these pieces can come back together because, she has talked about those times and how close all of her friends were and like everybody was just a part of each other's lives in so many different attributes and I'm excited to see if these pieces come together and see really what that friend group was like and to see them be able to enjoy all the things that come along with being an adult, families, kids, and all of these things and having a key person next to your side to be able to be a supportive in your own right, but also to be an active part of this friend group. So I'm excited to see where all that comes from. As the older person, because Audrey and I have 20 years between us, which is wild to think about. And actually her friend's husband was like couldn't even believe that I was 47 years old and the huge gap and difference between Audrey and I, but we don't ever think about that, like I'm sure there's a large group of people that look at it and go like, what the fuck? Like you guys, you're old enough to be your dad and all this other bullshit. But like, we've never looked at it like that. We kind of always felt like we were two puzzle pieces and we kind of fit together, but never really had an opportunity for them to fit together. And then when we did, we literally grabbed it and ran with it because all the other things that surrounded outside of those pieces actually coming together just always felt right. And that's the best way I can explain it. Like people say that your person and where you're supposed to be and the person that's supposed to be by your side, you'll know. And that's 100% accurate. Like you can't literally explain the words of what it's like to have that person by your side and the difference of having somebody be supportive but also give you a fair and honest objective point of view, and you don't take it as they're tearing it apart or they're being negative or whatever, and you're also not getting the telling you what you want to hear. You get an objective point of view. And guess what? That person does it and says, I'll stand by your side. This is how I feel about it. This is what I think. And you go through it together. And that's an incredible feeling. And it takes a special kind of relationship to be able to get to that point. And when you're there, you'll never want to not be there. And you'll look back at all the other relationships that you were in and go, well, this is why it didn't work, because this is what real feels like. And I hope that, some of the people in our lives get to be at that point, because at different times you feel like you're in that place and you invest yourself and your life heavily into that, and then it just kind of falls apart. And you realize that the pieces didn't quite fit together as well as you thought they did. And, unfortunately, as I had referenced earlier, a friend of mine is actually going through that now. He set himself up for the life that he's always wanted, and I respect the shit out of him for doing it, because he sacrificed a lot in order to be able to get there. And he still sacrifices a lot now. Like, I've never met anybody like him that gives to others and cares for others and still finds time to do the things that he does to make himself happy. And it's pretty fucking incredible, if you ask me. And I've known him for a lot of years, and I was by his side when he went through, some life changes and where he was going to go after college and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, we didn't always, have such a close relationship, but we always stayed in touch, and that's kind of the important aspect of that. And when I found out he was going through this struggle and he shared it with me, I made sure that he understood that I had been through it twice, and I had been through a lot of what he's dealing with, and felt really high and felt really low, which I also discussed, in some earlier episodes. And I wanted to let him know that no matter what, he wasn't alone. And that was important, because when I went through that stuff, I didn't think anybody was going to understand. And nobody really kind of reached out to me and said, hey, how you doing? And really say it in a genuine manner where you actually feel like sharing what you're actually thinking and feeling was going to be heard. And to be fair, at those times, you feel alone, you feel empty, you feel like a shallow shell of yourself, and you kind of almost lose feeling for a little while. And I'm very proud of him, because he's taken all the right steps. Like, he reached out to his pastor and spoke to him, and I'm sure, if I know him very well, he was very open and genuine about what he was thinking and feeling and going through. And he's been there for people that need him to be there, even with his own struggles going on. And it's something that not everybody can do, but it's definitely the person that I've seen him be at different times, and he has it in him, and he doesn't do it because he feels like he has to do it. He does it because he genuinely knows it's the right thing to do. Pretty important to say, because I think what he does is really kind of the opposite of where society has gone, and we've kind of lost touch of it. And he is a beacon of all of those things. Do unto others as you'd have done to you, and all of that. And I can't appreciate the person that he is enough, and I make sure that he knows if he needs me, I'm here, and if he needs me to go through the court process with him, I'll fucking be there. And because to me, it's not really about the reasons why it's happening. It's more about it. It's more about the support and having somebody genuinely care and somebody understand, and somebody who's going to tell you the hard things and be supportive of the good things. And I don't think there's enough genuine friends like that in the world. There are a lot of reels and some other stuff that are out there that tell us that you only have a few true friends in this world, and the ones that stick around and are there for you through thick and thin are the ones that the ones that are really meant to be there, and they're just not there for the time being. So I try to be that friend for him, and I will continue to try to be that friend for him. And it's just, I don't know, it's sad to see. I've been through it, so it's tough to see a friend go through it as well. So, um, with that said, outside of this, love being a dad again. My little guy is just, he's so fucking active and so goddamn fucking smart. And I don't say that as like I'm bragging about where he's at, but the kid's not even 3, and he knows, fuck, sometimes I think more than I do, and it amazes me to hear him articulate full sentences and understand as much as he does and respond accordingly and recognize things that even his daycare teacher said he's doing things that a 5-year-old should do, and that kind of blows my mind. Like this kid, he knows all of his shapes, he knows all of his colors, he knows how many sides every shape has, he can read his numbers forward and backwards, he knows all the planets in the solar system, he knows them front and back, he knows facts about all of them. It's just mind blowing to me that somebody came from me and came from Audrey and has this level of intelligence and this like vacuum and sponge of information, and when he finds something he likes, he just embraces it, sucks it all in, and it's wild to me. And I'm so fucking proud of him, because as much as he likes all of the techie things, as people would call it now, like his shows on TV and playing games on a tablet and all those things, he loves being outside, and he likes running around, and he likes sitting in the grass and playing with the ball, and he just loves every aspect of life. And I know that there are some parents out there that they do the best job they can, and they don't have the opportunity to enjoy all those moments with their kid. But like, so many kids are so wrapped up in the tech stuff that they don't get an opportunity to enjoy the outdoors as much as they should. And I'm so happy that this kid, he loves all of it, like he wants to be outside walking around in the grass and running around and chasing each other and being on a swing and going down the slide and all of it. And I'm just in awe of it all. It makes me so happy and so proud and all of those things, to have, him be that way. And then on the other side, I have my older son who's going to be 20 this year, and I see him working his ass off. He tries to be as financially sound as he can be and do the right thing with his money. I see him care about his friends. I see him enjoying different attributes, and he got to go up to Boston, and it was the first time in his life that he had a getaway with just his friends. They went to the Wu-Tang concert, and lots of different things, lots of different things he's had to experience for the first time. I dropped him off at the train in New Haven. He took the train up to Boston. He had to get an Uber from the train station to the Airbnb and be able to navigate all that stuff on his own. And I'm so fucking proud of him for doing it. And he was honest about what was going on up there, and he did all the right things with communicating, and he really did a great job, and he got there, and it was him and 2 other friends that stayed at this Airbnb, and the host left some beverages in the cooler for them, and left notes that said, if you drink any of this stuff, please make sure that you pay. And there was notes on it that said how much all of it cost. And I'm so fucking proud of this kid that when he got there, he took a picture of what was in the fridge and what it said, and was honest about what was there. And the only thing I said to him, it was, if you have any of that stuff, just be safe and make sure you pay for it and don't overdo it and whatever else. And he did every bit of that, and I don't know if I would have been that honest when I was his age. I'm sure I would have made my own mistakes. And when I was his age, I had friends that were of age, and they just bought everything, and we did whatever, and we just kind of lived life to the fullest. And I'm so proud that I have a relationship with him where he feels comfortable sharing all of that stuff. And there definitely are some gaps that he keeps to himself, and I think everybody at that age has that. But I'm proud that he takes the opportunity to share all of that stuff with us, and is upfront and honest with his mom, and I appreciate that very much. I think that shows that everything his mom and I and his stepdad and Audrey, while she's been a part of his life, the things that we've tried to instill in him, he's listened, and he is finally at a point where he trusts it all. And that's pretty fucking important, So I'm so fucking happy for him. And I'm excited to see what comes in the future for him. Outside of that, I am. I am probably the happiest and the most comfortable I've been with my life than I have ever been. And, I think when I was younger, I think I was happy with my life, but I was so invested in all the other things, hanging out with my friends and partying and doing all this other stuff. But the happiness and the place that I'm at right now, I couldn't be thankful enough. I have everything I ever wanted. I always wanted to, from the time I started brewing, to have a great brew system and have all the things to be able to really enjoy the craft, and I have that. And I have a gym at my house, which I have more things now than I ever thought I would, and I can legitimately get everything done that I can get done at a corporate gym, and I'm fucking so happy for that, and I'm in a good place. And it's something that I have always strived to be. Financially, you can always be in a better place, yes, and we'll get there with time, but emotionally and mentally, I think I'm probably at the best place I've ever been in my life. I don't have very many things to complain about. And if I do, are they even worth complaining about at this point? They're not actual problems. They're just stupid little nuances that happen that upset me, but they're not real things that impact my life or change the direction that I'm going in or impact me to the point where I can't, break through it. And I have a good core group of friends around me that I am extremely happy to have in my life. It's fucking wild. And, this weekend we were talking about some of those things and some of the people that I'm friends with, and I am truly blessed. I have friends that have, gone through a transition as far as, gender and who they are as a person. I have friends that I look up to, like my friend I was talking about earlier. I have other friends that I look up to, like my buddy Joe that was on the podcast, who has gone through some of the same things that I have and some other things, and they're standing tall on the other side of it. And then I have my own stuff, where I finally am in a place where I get to just relax and enjoy and embrace. And I guess that's the purpose of this podcast, is to be able to talk about those things and talk about the wins and the failures, and be able to enjoy them all. I'm just so happy to be able to have those things and be able to share them with you guys. And I can't thank all the things around me enough. I can't thank you guys enough for being patient and being willing to listen again. Hopefully this is a start where, I can start being more consistent with this again. And I'm absolutely going to try to. I'm going to try to get some more guests and try to get that stuff going, because I really like the witty banter and stuff of having somebody else be a part of this. And I look forward to all this. In case you guys forgot, there is the Instagram for the Brewed for Life podcast. There is the homebrew page at Baines Brewing. There's also the dad-son community, which I started, which I'd love to get back on track with that as well. So jump on, check those out. Please check out Joe's Instagram page. I think you guys would really, really love to see the content and stuff he puts out. And that page, The Next 24. And, for those of you, it's not actually spelled that way. It's TH3 Next, number 2, number 4. So jump online, check that stuff out too. Joe puts up some great content, some great insight, and I'm sure he would love to support as well. So with that, I'm happy to be back at it. And I hope that you guys pick this up and listen to it, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.